What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the second episode of the Prospecting 411 Podcast. I'm your host, JB Sebastiano. It's my co-host, Cam Freeman. Today, we're going over Mock Draft 2.0. So we're going to be kicking this off with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have the number one pick. And for me, staying the exact same as last week, I have Dylan Cruz from LSU going here. Been playing really well in the regionals. Don't see this changing. Got Dylan Cruz.
Yeah, said it last episode. Just it might be a lock. Honestly, I've also got Dylan Cruz going there, and I there's not much that I would see to change it right now.
Yeah, there's not much to change this. Nationals at number 2, Paul Skeens, same as last week again. Paul Skeens and Nationals have a heavy connection right now. Skeens has been throwing well. I don't see this changing either. The link just seems to be too strong.
Yeah, same with me. The only thing with Cruz and Skeens is there is two similar players for me that I could see make the jump based on College World Series performance, but I would think that Cruz and Skeens would have to have very, very, very poor performances, where these other guys would have very, very strong performances. That'd be Wyatt Langford and Rhett Lauder.
Yeah.
But I don't really see anybody jumping these two guys in these two spots right now.
Yep. Number 3, the Tigers. I had Max Clark here last time. Wyatt Langford is now jumping into this 3 spot for me after really coming on here and showing out in these regionals heading into the College World Series. I think he is a very strong candidate for the Tigers to really come and help them quicker than some of the high school bats. So I see Wyatt Langford here at 3.
Yeah. So my top 4, I'll go ahead and say, is the same as the last draft. I still have Walker Jenkins here at 3 to Detroit. High school outfield bat, really good power. Not much to say about him since we talked so much about him in the last episode.
Yep. Number 4, the Rangers. I had Wyatt Langford here last week. Now I have Walker Jenkins jumping up from number 9 last time we did the mock draft for me. Jenkins for me, kind of just when I was going through the mock draft, slipped a little bit. This time I got him going really early. I got him ahead of Max Clark. Jenkins, really the power tool, really the most polished high school hitter in this class. I have the Rangers taking him.
Yep. And then, like I just said, I will Wyatt Langford at 4 again to the Texas Rangers.
Number 5, I had Kyle Teal to the Twins last time. This week I have Max Clark. Clark, the guy that is the top high schooler in some people's eyes. He is a little bit more raw. He has a higher hit tool than Jenkins, some believe. A lot of off the field stuff can really get in the way with Clark, but I have Max Clark jumping up to number 5 here.
Yeah. I also have Max Clark here at 5. The Twins. I think it makes sense. Definitely a position of need. Not only in their farm system, I think, but also on their major league roster. So I think it could definitely add up for the Twins to take Max Clark there at 5.
Yep, I agree. Number 6, the A's. I have Jacob Wilson here again. I just like this pick from an A's standpoint. It's a guy they could get under slot. I think that Jacob Wilson kind of fits what they could use in Oakland. They don't really have any infielders that have really stuck there. I like Jacob Wilson here.
Funny enough, I didn't remember that was your pick last time. I actually also have Jacob Wilson here at 6 to the A's.
I like it.
I've seen a lot, and we talked about this, of Kyle Teal to the A's here at 6. It really just in no way makes sense to me why they would take him at 6. I think shortstop is a position of need. Again, like the Twins, not only in their farm system, but in their major league roster too.
Yeah.
So I think a college shortstop could make a bunch of sense for the A's there at 6.
To add off what you were saying too, behind the plate, Langelier, Soderstrom, and Daniel Susac, I just don't see where they have any sort of room, not to mention some smaller names like Kyle McCann behind the plate. I don't understand how they could take another catcher. And I don't know why that's picking up so much steam. Only reason I could see that is him being the best college hitter available at that point. But I just don't put that together for me. Number 7, moving on to the Reds, I have Rhett Lauder moving up here, replacing Chase Dolander. Rhett Lauder, after a couple strong performances, I think he's the guy that the Reds are going to take. He probably is the most polished college arm Dollander has some better stuff, but Louder would be the guy that'd be ready to get there quicker. And the Reds are kind of rebuilding quicker than some expected right now, getting into contention. So I got Rhett Louder.
Uh, Again, I also have the same pick as you here. I have Brett Lauder at 7 to the Reds. I think I had Max Clark here going last time, if I remember correctly. Again, Brett Lauder, like you said, some strong performances in the regionals and super regionals for Wake Forest, who is now going to Omaha. And I think that there's a real shot for Brett Lauder to make an even bigger name for himself while in Omaha with this team. A lot of eyes are on Wake Forest right now, with them being the number one team in the country, and I think he could make some noise and potentially jump up into the top 5.
I agree. Number 8, Kyle Teal. The Royals, that's who I have them taking. The catcher out of Virginia. I had Jake Gonzalez here last time. I think Teal kind of fits a need with the Royals. Salvador Perez kind of aging out. Don't really have a lot of catching depth in the system. I could see Kyle Teal being a really good fit here for the Royals.
Yeah. So I have Kyle Teal also going here at 8 to the Royals. I had that last time. Kind of fell in love with that pick when I made it last time. Again, just love the pick way too much. I think it makes way too much sense for the Royals. And Kyle Teal is definitely a top bat in this draft for sure. So I think getting him at 8 would be really good for the Royals.
At number 9 with the Rockies, last time obviously talked about how I had Walker Jenkins here. I have 2 names that I could see them taking here, and the 2 picks where I have these 2 arms going, I think are interchangeable. I had Thomas White out of IMG Academy going here to the Rockies. I think a prep arm to the Rockies makes a lot of sense. It's kind of been a trend with them. They like trying to find arms that could possibly play in Coors Field. They've been struggling with it. I think they take another crack at it here. Thomas White and Noble Meyer was the other name I had, but I had Thomas White, the high school lefty, going here.
Yeah. So last draft, I had Jacob Gonzalez going here. I thought it made sense for them. I dropped Gonzalez for this one. I actually do have them taking an arm now and Chase Dollander. I do think it makes sense for them to take an arm here. Prep arm could be good for them. However, I think that they would not pass up on the value of not Jacob Gonzalez, Chase Dollander here at 9 with him still being on the board. So I have the Rockies taking Chase Dollander out of Tennessee.
Number 10, the Marlins. I had Rhett Louder last time. This time I have Arjun Nimala. I think that he is a guy that a lot of teams are really valuing due to his age and how polished he is for how young he is. There's still a lot of development there, but he is a really advanced hitter for a 17-year-old on draft day. I think that the high school shortstop is going to the Miami Marlins.
I really pondered Arjun here at 10 to the Marlins. I could see it happening. However, I don't know if they do it with taking Khalil Watson. What was that, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough for me to see them take a shortstop in general. Considering they put so much into Khalil Watson, especially a high school shortstop at that. I know Arjun or Khalil, could probably move since they're so young. I kept it the same as last draft. I had the Marlins taking Noble Mayer here at 10. I think it makes sense. Younger pitching is a need in the farm system, and I think that that would give him time to work up to be a young piece in that rotation in a couple years with some of the young guys that they already have there now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Number 11, the Angels. I have Chase Dollander, the right-hander out of Tennessee. Last time I had Yohani Morales here. Dollander, the Angels been known for taking pitching recently, especially guys that get to the big leagues quick. Dollander's got a lot of stuff there that really could play in the bigs right away. The control has been the issue this year with Dollander. He's kind of lost it a bit, but I think the Angels take him and gamble on the stuff and most likely fast track him like they have with a lot of other pitchers.
I could definitely see a pitcher going here, especially a college arm. Like you said, fast track him. But I'm kind of sticking on the same wave that I went last episode, 1.0 mock draft with. I had them taking Jacob Wilson. Obviously, he's off the board here, so now I have them taking Jacob Gonzalez, a similar shortstop, college shortstop out of Ole Miss. I think that it could be a use of them, and I think I talked about it last time. maybe moving Zach Neto or whoever they take over to second base or third base, and one of these guys playing uh, there in their place, and also being like a fast track guy to the major leagues.
Yep. Now we got the D-backs at 12. Colin Houck, the high school infielders who I have here, one of the hottest prep bats in baseball. And this has been a link with them. The D-backs obviously love their prep bats with Lawler and Drew Jones the past couple of years. I see them taking Colin Houck here. It's been one of the strongest connections, according to most people, following the draft. So I have Colin Houck here.
I'm on the same wave. I have Colin Houck here at 12 with the D-backs again. They're a team that loves not college bats, high school bats. It would be kind of weird considering he's a shortstop and Lawler's a shortstop, whatever. But again, something we see so often with these high school, middle infielders is they usually always almost end up playing a different position or adding a different position to their repertoire along with being able to play shortstop. So I think it can make sense. So I have the same pick as you, but don't be surprised if Colin Houck ends up at second base, third base.
Yeah, it's definitely something possible there. Number 13 with the Cubs, I have the same exact pick as last week. Tommy Troy, the infielder out of Stanford. I really think he's picked up a lot of steam. The Cubs have heard going after a college bat. Troy, the Stanford connection, like they have a Nico Horner in 2018, kind of a guy that picked up steam at the end of the college season. Troy, same case scenario. I think the connection really fits in my mind. I got them taking Tommy Troy.
Cubs, I also have them taking a shortstop. However, it is Arjun Namala, who you talked about, a guy that picked up a ton of steam recently on the draft boards. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 10. A lot of scouts like him, like you said. I think we said that a bunch of times. Not much more, to really say about these guys though that we kind of talked about last episode. So that's all I got to say about Arjun. But yeah, have him here at 13 to the Cubs. That was also my pick last episode. Yeah.
Number 14, the Red Sox here. Last time I had Arjun Namala. This time I have the other high school arm we talked about going at number 9 to the Rockies, Noble Meyer. I think Meyer here makes a lot of sense to help the Red Sox out, kind of add some pitching to the system that they could use. Big arm, high school righty, a lot to dream on. I think it makes sense for the Red Sox here.
Yeah. So this is another pick. I have the same as last time. I have Thomas White, the left-handed pitcher. He's from Massachusetts, but he goes to IMG, correct?
Yep, it goes IMG.
Okay. So IMG, left-handed pitcher, big frame, like I said last time. Not much to say about him again. Same pick as last week. Thomas White at 14 to the Red Sox.
Number 15, I have the White Sox taking Jacob Gonzalez at Ole Miss. I think that them going to college bat here is the most likely scenario. I think that Jacob Gonzalez slipping here makes sense. I think they would like this pick, especially at the deadline here if they decided to trade Tim Anderson. It could be a guy to definitely fill that role for them. So I like Jacob Gonzalez here.
I like that actually. From your perspective, I don't think that's a bad pick for them. Especially with Colson Montgomery kind of having some injury problems right now. I think that them taking a college shortstop back could work out for them. 15. I switched this up from last week. I had Enrique Bradfield, Jr., the outfielder out of Vanderbilt, going here. I actually have them going outfielder again and college bat, but instead it's a guy that's been rising at the draft boards a little bit, and Chase Davis, the outfielder out of Arizona. So if you want to add on to Chase Davis, you can. If
Chase
not,
Davis, he was one of the top performers in the Pac-12 tournament. He has gained a lot of steam. Looks exactly like Carlos Gonzalez to me. He's got that cargo swing. I really like him, and I think this is a perfect spot for him. Yeah, I really do think that this could be a spot where the White Sox, if they decide to get aggressive, they could go him here.
and I think they could get him for under slot also.
I agree.
Right here.
Definitely think they could. Next up at 16 with the Giants, I had them taking the shortstop out of Maryland, Big Ten Player of the Year, Matt Shaw. Just a pick here that seems very Giants-esque, kind of an infielder that's very polished, nothing too flashy, just an overall gamer, kind of has a good feel to hit. Not going to have any crazy power, but he's going to put up some solid numbers. for you, I think that Matt Shaw is a perfect fit here with the Giants.
This is another pick where I had it the same. I tried to switch it up as much as possible this week, but some of the picks, if you do these mock draft things, you kind of get picks where you're like, oh man, I really like that pick, or you kind of fall in love with a certain guy or a certain team. And this is one of those picks that I really liked it. I'm going to keep it the same as last week. I have Aiden Miller, uh, high high school third baseman, going at 16 to the Giants.
Yep, I like that. So next up here, I have the Brewers at 18. I have them taking Enrique Bradfield. Last time I had Hurston Waldrop here. Or excuse me, no. We're at 17, the Orioles. 17 with the Orioles, I have Aiden Miller going here once again. Kind of just falls in the same spot. High school infielder. I think that they would like the bat. I think it plays here for the Orioles. Makes a lot of sense for their development.
Yeah. At the Orioles here at 17, another one. I hate to keep doing it, but Charlie Soto is who I had to pick it last time, high school right-handed pitcher. I have the same thing here. I think it makes sense for them to take him here. Kind of like his arm, and I think it would work out for the O's.
At 18, the Brewers, I have them taking Enrique Bradfield, like I just said. Last time I didn't have Bradfield in the first round. This time I add him in there. I'm not huge on Bradfield. The athleticism really is the big sell with him in the defense. The bat, so on if it's going to play. I'm not a big believer in his bat, but Bradfield, I have him going here to the Brewers. I think they roll the dice.
Yeah. Again, keeping it the same. Blake Mitchell, the high school catcher out of Texas. I think it makes way too much sense for the Brewers. And again, we talked about it last week, why it makes sense. And the more I look at it, the more I like it.
Yeah, I can see that. So 19, the Rays. I have Dylan Head, the high school outfielder. I think that he's been a guy that really has picked up steam too on the draft boards. A lot of people like him through the prep ranks. I think the Rays, they always like finding those guys that have a little bit of potential. They usually reach a little bit here. This might not even be as big of a reach as they usually take, but I think Dylan Head is the guy for me that makes sense here.
Yeah. And then I promise, I think it's the last one, maybe of the rest of the draft. It's not, but last one for a little bit. I have the same pick as last week. I have the Rays taking Hurston Waltrip, pitcher out of Florida. I think it makes too much sense. They have the room to take a chance on a kind of shaky, recently college arm. But he's also a guy that has a chance to make a little bit of noise and a little bit more of a name for himself here in the College World Series with the Gators.
Yeah, number 20, the Blue Jays. I had Matt Corvath here last time. I have Braden Taylor here at a TCU this time. Braden Taylor really showed out recently. They're headed to the College World Series. He has been a big part of this TCU offense. Originally a top 10 pick, kind of slow start to this year, but has picked up again. I have him at 20 here to the Blue Jays. Think it's a good fit for them.
Yeah, 20 here at the Blue Jays is a guy that I've had fall from our last draft. Adam going at 12 last time. He's two-way out of James Madison High School. His name is Bryce Eldridge. So I have him going here at 20 to the Blue Jays. I think it can make sense for them. Not a team that we usually see take a chance on a two-way guy, but we also haven't seen a whole lot of two-way guys until recent.
Yeah.
So I think it can make sense for the Blue Jays to do so.
Yeah, I like that. At number 21, the Cardinals. I had Braden Taylor here. This time I have Nolan Shaniel, the outfielder out of FAU. A guy that really the bat came on this year at FAU and really showed out and made scouts fall in love with his ability to hit, seeing it as something that could really translate to the next level, a guy that could fast track to the big leagues due to a very advanced hit tool. And he combined the high hit tool with some power this year at FAU. It's something that is easy to fall in love with, and I think the Cardinals are a team that definitely would go after Nolan Shannon.
Um, at 21 for the Cardinals, I had them going Travis. Travis Sikora, right-handed pitcher out of high school. Another big-bodied guy, or not? I think he's kind of skinny, but I think he's really tall. I think he's like 6'6" or something like that.
Yeah, big for him.
Big guy. I think it could work out for them. Their pitching has been shaky. I know that they have what's the name? Michael McGreevy
Mm-hmm.
the name
And
in the
Andrew
farm
Repeat.
system. They've got Tink Hence in the farm system.
Yeah.
But like Libertor hasn't really worked out for them. And the rest of their veteran guys that they, have been counting on haven't turned out. I mean, Dakota Hudson's been in AAA all year. Jordan Montgomery hasn't been great.
Miles
Uh,
Morales.
Miles Michaelis hasn't been great. Steven Matz has been terrible. It's just, I think it makes sense for them to go pitcher here at 21 now for the Cardinals.
At number 22, the first pick of the Mariners in the first round, first of three, I have them taking Hurston Waldrop here. I think it's a guy that they could get under slot and really help them be more aggressive in the back two picks if they wanted to. I think that there's a lot of potential here. The Mariners have in the past picked a lot of guys like this. Emerson Hancock, for example, another guy who was supposed to go at the very top of the draft before top couple picks, three picks. He dropped to them within the later part of the top 10. Waldrop, kind of a similar scenario here, supposed to be a top 10 pick, falling down to the 20s. I could really see this coming on here.
So for the Mariners here at 22, I've been going Colin Houck last week. I still have them going shortstop here. Instead, it's Matt Shaw this time. I think Matt Shaw is a guy that if he really reaches that max potential that he has with his bat, I think that he could be a replacement for JP Crawford at some point at the shortstop position in Seattle. So I have the Mariners taking Matt Shaw, shortstop out of Maryland here at 22.
Number 23, the Guardians. I have them taking the two-way guy, Bryce Eldridge, we talked about a little bit earlier. The Guardians, they always love dreaming on guys with a lot of potential, especially high schoolers. Eldridge really is the definition of that. He's got all the potential in the world at the plate and on the mound, upper 90s fastball, huge power potential, could hit 30-plus homers. He's a guy that really fits the Guardians' MO, and with a great development system, he could be a guy that could turn into a serious threat at the next level on either side of the ball or both. So I like this pick for the Guardians.
Yeah. So I have the Guardians going a little, off track than usual. Like you said, they kind of like that high potential high school pick. I actually have them going with a college guy this time around. I had them going Travis Sikora last one. I have them taking Enrique Bradfield Jr. Out of Vanderbilt. I think that they're gonna bank in on the potential of the athleticism. You look at guys in their outfield, it's athletic guys, Miles Straw, Stephen Kwan, and Will Brennan, I think is their third outfielder. I think that they could bank in on the potential of the athleticism in Bradfield and hope for maybe a fast track to be a fourth outfielder in Cleveland for them because I named all three of those guys, but they're not all, like super, super solid outfielders.
Yeah.
Juan had a really good year last year, is having a little bit of a shaky year. Straw is kind of like the
Defense first.
definition of an average MLB outfielder,
Yeah.
I feel like. And Will Brennan has been kind of below average. So, yeah.
Yeah, number 24 with the Braves, I have them taking a high school infielder, George Lombard, guy that's gained a lot of traction recently as well, like we talked about with a few of these high school players. He's another guy that's kind of climbed up some boards that they really like the hit tool with Lombard. They see a lot of potential there. I think the Braves go with Lombard here.
Yeah. This is another pick that I have the same, and it is Tommy Troy, the shortstop out of Stanford, not Sanford, Stanford, at the Braves for 24. I think that, again, we discussed this last episode. This would be a good pick for them, kind of as that push piece for Vaughn Grissom to step it up and banking on the potential of Tommy Troy if Vaughn Grissom doesn't work out.
Number 25, the Padres have them going Colt Emerson, high school infielder. Padres really like high schoolers. They like taking guys with a lot of potential that are young, making the most out of whatever they can get for them, usually as a trade piece. Hassel and James Wood, two perfect examples of that. CJ Abrams as well. Emerson, another guy that has steadily made his name a first round lock almost at this point due to the hit tool. And I think the Padres go here with that and try to maximize his potential.
Yeah. So last episode I had the Padres going Yohandy Morales, third baseman out of Miami. This time I have them going Braden Taylor, third baseman out of TCU. Similar player to Yohandy, where the hit tool is high, and kind of already talked about him, so not much else to say. But I think it makes sense with Yohandy not having a great regional, so he's going to fall a little bit. Braden Taylor also fell a little bit for me, so I think it makes sense for them here at 25.
Number 26, the Yankees. I have this the same as last time. Kind of talked about this before. Sammy Stafura. I think they're going to try to go back to that Anthony Volpe-esque kind of finding an infielder close to home that other teams don't value as highly as them, and they see a high potential in. And Stafura is that kind of player. The hit tool is something that they really like with him. They value it a lot more than other teams, and they see him being able to grow into some power potential. So I got the Yankees here with Sammy Stafura.
So I have a interesting pick. I don't think this name has been brought up in the last mock draft or this one yet. I have the Yankees taking a high school pitcher. I had them taking Cade Kuehler last time. Again, kind of like a reach pick here a little bit. With Cole, I'm gonna try to pronounce this right. Cole Schoonwetter. He's a right-handed high school pitcher out of San Marcos, California, 6'3", currently committed to UC Santa Barbara. But yeah, right-handed high school arm. I think it would be a little bit of a reach, which we've seen the Yankees do a lot, and he's kind of got a similar repertoire: the fastball, curveball, changeup, and people compared him to J.R. Ritchie. So I guess that makes sense back into the first round, just like J.R. Ritchie was last year.
Number 27 with the Phillies, I got them going Chase Davis, the outfielder out of Arizona, like we talked about earlier. Big Pac-12 tournament, Cargo-esque. I think it just makes sense here at the Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies, I have them going Colt Emerson, the shortstop, high school shortstop. He's been gaining some buzz. He is out of Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. Shortstop, third baseman, 6'1", 195. I think it would make sense for the Phillies because of their unsureness kind of at that third base position. I think they have a lot of questions to answer on the infield currently, and what direction they want to go with that organization. So I think this can make sense for them.
Number 28 with the Astros, I have Mac Horvath, the third baseman out of UNC, going here. I think the Astros, again, just like last year with Gilbert, kind of going after a guy with a lot of potential out of college. There is some risk. They're not as sure thing as other college bats, but they have a lot more potential than some of the other guys. Horvath, extremely high exit velocities, a good runner, great athlete that can play multiple positions. He can play short, third, center field, as he did at UNC throughout the year. He's a guy that there is a bit of swing and miss. He got better at it this year, and the walk rates were up, so that's encouraging to some teams, but they still are kind of worried about that swing and miss. I think the Astros are the type of team that would take the risk on Horvath here.
Yeah, I like that. I like the points made there. I think I'm gonna have to keep my pick the same here at 28. I like it too much. Brock Wilken, third baseman out of Wake Forest, had a pretty good, regional and super regional. Another guy that is going to be in Omaha and can, kind of boost his draft stock a little more. Bat is amazing. The glove is pretty decent too. And I think, again, I said this last time, it could be an Alex Bregman replacement, here in 2 or 3 years.
Yep. At number 29 and 30, we'll just go back to back here because it is the Mariners. I have the Mariners, like we talked about earlier, going under slot early. I have them taking the high school catcher Blake Mitchell and the high school righty Charlie Soto here. I think by going under slot early, this really allows them to kind of come and spend here freely. And I think the potential of Blake Mitchell and Charlie Soto really is a value they couldn't pass up at this point in the draft. Mitchell being a top 10, top 15 prospect to a lot of people. The thing that scared a lot of people away is him being a high school catcher, that not having a good track record really with the draft. I think Mitchell here is just a no-brainer along with Soto. A lot of potential in that big arm.
Yeah, I think Soto in the 29-30 would be great value in my opinion. Blake Mitchell, not really sure if the Harry Ford being in there, but my picks here, I have them going two college bats here, both kind of again like a little bit of a long term replacement at positions that they currently have kind of locked up. With Noah Schunel, is how you said it right? Correct?
Yeah, Noah Shaniel.
Noah Schunel out of Florida Atlantic, and Yohandy Morales, third baseman out of Miami, kind of replacing Ty France, who's also had a little bit of injury history. And then Eugenio Suarez at third base with Yohandy Morales. I think those are two guys that they would like these two guys to learn behind too.
Yep, number 31 with the Rays. I have them taking Yohandi here. Like we said, not as much of a hot regional compared to other people. He had a really good ACC tournament, kind of slowed down in the regionals. Yohandi here, I think for the Rays is a great pick after going Dylan Head, kind of a riskier pick earlier. I think the safe Yohandi pick here kind of reassures this draft class having a guy with a high floor to at least give something at the major league level here. He has a high hit tool and he's got a lot of power potential. A very safe pick here at 31, I have.
Um, I have the Rays taking a little bit of a risk here again at 31 after they took kind of one at 19 with Hurston Waldrop. I have them taking Dylan Head, the outfielder out of high school in Illinois, 6 foot 185. I think they're going to bank on his potential with his hit and run tool. Pretty good glove out there in the outfield also. But yeah, Dylan Head, outfielder out of Illinois, here at 31 to the Rays.
Finally, the Mets at 32. We did expand it this time up to 32 with the Mets to get them in here. I have Brock Wilken going here, the third baseman out of Wake Forest. Kind of talked about him. Set the ACC home run record. A ton of power. A guy that's had a lot of swing and miss in the past. It was what his scared scouts and low walk rates. This year he had a career high walk rate, which I think is encouraging, along with lowering his K rate. I think that's something that could really help his case here, being a big power bat. The defense, he's going to be an average defender over there at third base. Nothing too spectacular, but I think the bat is really what puts him ahead, especially the power numbers. And the Mets love their power hitters, so I really could see Brock Wilken being a good fit here.
Power numbers are insane on Wilken. Somebody did say, I was talking about a minute ago, he just became the all-time ACC leader in home runs yesterday. And then for me at 32 with the Mets, I haven't taken a guy that you talked a little bit about earlier, shortstop / third baseman, high schooler, 6'3", 190, George Lombard Jr. out of Florida. Currently committed to Vanderbilt. So, you know, we might could see a little bit of something here where, you know, I don't know if he'll be able to get him under slot, but with this being their first pick of the draft and it being all the way back
I think they're gonna have to pay up here if they take Lombard, but at the same time, with this being their first pick in the draft, I think they would be willing to spend big.
I think they would also be willing to do it, especially with Steve Cohen. We know he likes to spend money, so definitely an option for them there at 32 for sure.
Yep. And that will wrap it up for our mock draft 2.0. This should be posted not too long after this, if not before going up. This should be a more regular thing here. We're going to try to update these mock drafts. 3.0 should come out after the College World Series is what we're thinking right now. We'll probably have some other little articles and stuff coming out before then. We'll see what we got. Yeah, that should do it though. So thank y'all for tuning into our mock draft 2.0, and we'll see you later.